Greetings, Tezos Nation. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons. Joining me today is Will Pazos, Senior Vice President of Blockborn. Blockborn, for those who might not know, is the Tezos gaming and esports platform highlighting Web3 projects in the Tezos ecosystem and the gamers who play them. It was born out of a partnership between the Misfits gaming group and the Tezos Foundation to attract new users to gaming projects being rolled out across the Tezos ecosystem. On today's stream, we'll be giving away 5 limited edition Neon's digital ink body tattoos to 5 of our lucky viewers. If you'd like one of those lucky viewers to be you, keep an ear out for a keyword later on during the stream. And of course, if you have any questions for Will that you'd like me to ask, please add them to the chat at any time, and we'll get to as many as we can before we wrap up. Hi, Will. How are things in Florida?
Hi, Stu. How you doing? Thank you for the very kind intro. Things are good here in Florida. We've got some sunny weather. All of our counterparts are mostly in Europe, so we see them putting on jackets and snow outside the window, and we're sitting here like perfect, sunny clouds, blue sky, the whole thing. So happy days for us, yeah.
Fabulous. To get us started, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started on your journey into the exciting world of blockchain tech?
Sure. I grew up kind of all over the world. But moved to Singapore when I was 12 years old in 2005, I believe it was. And there I kind of got exposed to gaming. And through that, after university, worked for a VC firm doing, valuation and helping, startups in the mobile space raise money. And then eventually found myself doing the same kind of data work, but for esports companies and joined Misfits as the head of data analytics about 3 years ago now. And then in 2021, honestly, I'm somewhat of a latecomer to the crypto scene. I just caught the bug naturally, started picking up some NFTs here and there, having a look at it, made a little money, lost a little money, and eventually found my way looking at, some of the projects like Gala, and really falling in love with the idea that, a player could have ownership over their assets and, there's opportunities for rev share. I played World of Warcraft, kind of the most nerdy game possible my entire life. And, when I stopped playing and moved more into my, professional life and, got married and everything, I couldn't play so much. I canceled my subscription, and the sad feeling I got was all this time and hours and energy that I pumped into this game were completely gone and locked behind, Blizzard servers. And so this idea that, crypto and blockchain could change that and could make it so that my efforts in the digital world are represented and, I can partake the same way, in the physical world where, I own my house and I have, insurance and everything. I thought was a pretty wild unlock. And that was kind of what, did it for me in terms of wanting to chase and pursue this. Cool. From that, and just to give the last little piece there, Tezos came on board with Misfits and, we saw an opportunity to build something. And I, raised my hand as the guy who had been, exposed to crypto, not a massive amount, but enough that I thought I understood what we wanted to accomplish here. So that's kind of the way I arrived at Blockborn.
Very cool. So for those who might not be familiar, how would you explain the Blockborn platform? Like, what's your elevator pitch?
Sure. So we essentially exist to help foster, the gaming activity that happens on Tezos, both in a competitive sense with our Battle Pass tool and our tournament software that we're building. And then also from a, more of a funding perspective, we have a $10 million fund with the Tezos Foundation, targeting, small indie projects and games and anyone who's touching anything Tezos gaming. So, on the product side, it's really building tools to empower game developers to, attach stuff like battle passes and tournaments to take their game to the next level, add that user engagement element, that reason that someone should come back every day. It's hard enough to build a game. It's also tough to then go and create all the tools necessary to make that game interesting outside of the core game loop. So, we're really focused on that. And then also as part of the incubator piece and on the funding side, we're working to put together a launch pad. We're still playing around with the name of what we want to call it, because historically launch pads like Kickstarter are, first of all, there's a ton of them, but they really focus on taking someone from 0 to 10 or 0 to 50, whatever it is. We're looking at creating a platform where people can go and open up their game to user-generated content. So with Circuit Breaker, for example, one of the games that we're partnered with, we're looking to open up a system where someone can come and they want to develop a level or new neons art or whatever it is. And they'd be able to, go and basically apply for a small grant and raise crowdfunding around developing that, instead of going out and saying, hey, can you guys support me on Patreon or support me here? It's a different kind of model. So we're still working on the terminology there, but yeah, the two core focuses are tools for game developers and supporting, gamers and those game developers who are raising.
Very cool. So you mentioned the appeal of the concept of digital ownership within gaming, but I'm curious, like from a larger perspective, for the Misfits gaming team, what inspired the creation of Blockborn? Like, why did your team decide to dive into the world of Tezos Gaming?
I think for us, we realize that as a gaming organization who has, we just sold our League of Legends slot, but had a League of Legends franchise, had a Overwatch franchise, had a Call of Duty franchise. We needed to dip our toe in Web3. We didn't want to just jump all in and launch a loyalty program and do what, other esports orgs were doing. We wanted to take an approach that would really let us understand what the use case of blockchain is for gaming, both on the game development side, on the fan side, on the player side, on the pro side, the whole thing. And so with Blockborn, it was, let's go and build some tools which will force us to understand what the actual applications of Web3 are to gaming projects, from the game to the peripheral companies to the player experience, the whole thing. So Blockborn was a nice little, step in for us where we can sit back, we can build, we can learn, and when we're ready to deploy and want to basically take blockchain to our mainstream Web2 gaming audience, we have a sound base to move forward from, opposed to kind of just jumping in and saying, hey, we know this is right for you, come and buy our NFTs. It was, let's learn ourselves, in this kind of gaming community of Tezos. And then work with the ecosystem to scale it up.
Okay. So what makes Tezos the right blockchain ecosystem for building a project like this, in your view?
So to that same point, it was nice having an ecosystem that's as supportive as Tezos. I mean, it checked all the marketing boxes in terms of first proof of stake, environmentally friendly. It's like those are some of the big, gripes that traditional gamers had with crypto. It was, oh, but this thing's ruining the planet, the whole thing. So having Tezos as a partner and moving, into Tezos first was nice for us, just to check those boxes and make sure that our traditional audience is as happy as they can be. But outside of that, I mean, it's just been nice to work and build in a community where, we're developing smart contracts for basically all of our products. And we've been able to have direct access to the Marigold team or to, Lewis and the Kukai guys, to help us, build everything up. To its, it's a double-edged sword here, but, having a somewhat smaller chain just means we have more access and, we can make bigger mistakes and, people have, been forgiving and they understand what we're doing, but it's a nice community to get feedback in and to take our first steps into Web3.
That's great. We always like to hear that. So backing up a little bit, like how did your team come into contact with the Tezos Foundation, and how has that relationship evolved over time?
Sure. So the relationship is split up into a couple different components. The core one is based around just a traditional partnership or sponsorship. So, the same deal we do with Alienware and Red Bull and everyone else, where we, chuck logos on our jerseys and we help them, gain exposure in a Web2 audience to our more traditional kind of gaming fan bases. We partnered with Idea. We wanted to get the Tezos brand out there. We wanted to make sure the traditional gaming audience is exposed. And from there, it was just a conversation of with Misfits and the Tezos Foundation saying, okay, what do we want to build, right? And they were really interested in us, going and building out software and tooling for these game developers that the Tezos Foundation is dedicated and has their focus on Ubisoft and large studios. But we really wanted to come in and help kind of serve the indie to mid-size game studio to just be an additional resource for the foundation. So with them, it was just a matter of looking at the gaps in the market, looking at, the potential areas where we could come and, layer our esports and gaming knowledge, with the small or the existing kind of Tezos community.
Okay. So in a general sense, what part do you envision Blockborn playing in bringing Tezos gaming to the masses?
So there's a couple areas on the kind of funding and backing side. It's, we just are on the lookout for good projects, games that we see, check our box in terms of, being a high quality project that we'd want to play regardless of if it's Web3 integrated or not. Looking for good teams and good projects that we can support through the Incubator, through the Launchpad. That's one facet. And on the other side, it's really, finding game developers that are looking for, user engagement tools, right? So making sure that our Battle Pass product is ready to go, making sure that our tournament software is ready to go, as flexible as possible. So everything we're building, should be available hopefully in the next 2 quarters as an SDK or a Discord integration. The goal here really isn't to grab your users and bring them to Blockborn. It's really to build these tools that we can give to you to put into your Discord, to directly embed into your game, so that you can focus on building your game on Tezos, and we can come in and support that, not just on the funding side, but with all these tools as well, right? You want to launch a tournament? We've got the escrow contract already built out. We can let you spin up, tournaments of multiple different formats. We can allow you to do tournaments of 128 people. So we want to solve as many of those engagement components for you, so that you can focus on building your product, marketing it, growing your team, and not have to go and build out all these other, Battle Pass or tournament components on your own.
Okay. That was the next thing I wanted to ask about, was the portable Battle Pass system, which you've recently launched it into the wild. Can you run us through that project a little bit and how it works exactly?
Sure. So the Battle Pass is inspired by, traditional Battle Passes you'll see on Overwatch and everything. So we originally launched bounties a couple months ago, and we kept hearing from people was, this is great and all, but I just jump in, I claim the bounty once and I'm gone, an hour later type of thing. And we really wanted to create that user behavior where you're coming back every day, you're coming and you're playing multiple games, not just one to claim a bounty. So the Battle Pass is really set up so that, we have 1 daily and 2 weekly quests active, at all times. And users can come in for the select game, just Circuit Breaker and Might and Moem, soon to add Tezotopia and a couple more. And work through this, 10-tiered Battle Pass and claim different rewards along the way. The nice thing for us is, we're building this out to be an NFT itself. So the idea is that you'll buy this Battle Pass NFT, it'll sit in your wallet, and as you claim rewards, may it be NFTs, closed beta access, pure cash, pure XTZ, your wallet will be able to speak directly with whatever other contract it is, and say, hey, this guy is clearly level 4 or level 5, whatever it is, and it'll be able to instantly send through the prize or NFT or whatever it is. So right now it's just think of it as daily and weekly quests you can do to push your levels and game prizes. Right now it's site, but the next version of it will be fully in Discord. And then the next version of it will be, it'll be completely embedded into a game. So you'll just be playing that game. You'll be able to claim prizes, do quests and everything. And yeah.
Awesome. We do have an audience question that's come through here from Regular Guy HQ, who asks, is it similar to Gitcoin, but for indie devs?
So we actually did just run a Git for $40,000, which we're announcing the winners on Monday for. So it is a little bit different. So with Gitcoin and indie devs, they put out bounties that people can work on and work towards and develop different things for the Tezos ecosystem and get back rewards. So that's that bounty system. Our bounties were more focused on in-game activity. So we're really focused on trying to create the same user experience you might feel when you're playing traditional games in, your daily quests, your daily bounties, hot bounties that are only, available for 24 hours. and incentivizing the players more. In terms of our relationship with the devs directly, the way we support them is more through hackathons that we do with Gitcoin, and then the grant program and some of the other things. But the bounties and quests we're building right now are more for players, and what you'd expect to see in kind of traditional games.
Very, very cool. Great stuff so far. Excited to get into it a little bit more. But before we do have a giveaway to do.
Sure.
And we have the world famous TezTalks lightning round. Are you ready to participate in that?
I am ready, yes.
Okay. Just before we do that, I'll announce today's keyword for the Neon's digital ink body tattoos we're giving away today. Today's keyword is !Blockborn, all in caps. Enter the keyword !Blockborn, again, all in caps, into the live stream chat, and Nightbot will randomly select today's winners, who will announce before the end of the stream. Okay, now, Will, it is lightning round time. Remember, there are no wrong answers, and this is just for fun, so our listeners can get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready?
Yes, let's do it.
Beaches or mountains?
Mountains.
Pizza or sushi?
Sushi.
Movies or video games?
Oh, God, that's brutal. I'll go movies, but that's tough.
Is this real life, or are we in a simulation?
I'm going to go real life. Fingers crossed.
True or false? Money buys happiness.
I'll go false.
Name one thing you absolutely want to do before you die.
Oof. Change the world.
Wow. The last place you traveled was?
Singapore.
In 5 words or less, how would your best friend describe you?
Works on the weekends.
And finally, what is your favorite thing to do on a rainy day besides work?
Video games. There you go. Hang out with my wife. Scratch that. Hang out with my wife.
That was a good pivot. Good
Yeah.
pivot. Excellent answers. This concludes the TezTalks lightning round.
There we go.
A reminder to put the keyword in the chat here if you want to claim one of those prizes, and it is !Blockborn, all in caps. Now let's get back into it. I understand that the Blockborn squad has recently teamed up. I know you touched on this a few minutes ago. Teamed up with the folks at Balthazar to launch a hackathon with 40,000 Tez up for grabs for the winners. Can you tell us a bit about that hackathon, what you're looking for, and how people can get involved?
So that hackathon has just ended, but we will be doing more. The target with that is we worked with the Balthazar team. We worked with some of the guys over at Marigold. And the goal really was to open up some bounties that developers could work on that were focused on some of the problems that we're facing. So one of them, for example, was a smart contract escrow system for tournaments. So one of the big issues that we see in Web2 gaming on the tournament side and in competitive is, especially in the smaller scene, you get a lot of tournaments where the money gets pulled or it doesn't get paid out. And so something that we're working on that we wanted to kind of leverage the community on was a way that we could basically build that same tournament funding mechanism, but on chain. So we had a couple a couple good submissions that people will be able to see on Monday when we announce the winners. But the target really was go and build something where you can inject money, and that money can be paid out to the winners. And there is no chance that whoever funded that money can take it back, right? It's this whole leveraging the finality of payments on chain, and also just leveraging the transparency of having the pool somewhere where you can see. So all those smart contracts for tournaments will be able to be open, and you can see all the rules on TZKT. So there was that component. We also had a couple open bounties for developers who are just curious on solving anti-cheat stuff in the Web3 gaming scene. Something that we're still trying to solve is, within Web3, there's a huge concept of, I have my wallet and that's my identity, and I like the fact that I'm anonymous. The problem there is that, if we're building a gaming system and, we want to reward one single person, right? What's stopping them from spinning up 5, 10, 50 wallets and claiming to be the same person? So we're really working hard to understand without, getting into IP or, having people dox themselves, is there a way that we can use the blockchain or use smart contracts to help us solve that anti-cheat problem. So that hackathon just ended, but we do have another one that will be running in January. We also have an in-person game jam here in Florida for, I think it's $15,000 prize pool for teams of 2 to 3 who want to build up a prototype for a game. You don't need to be super savvy on the Web3 elements of it, but we're just looking for good game concepts that we can then help guide in terms of how they want to integrate Tezos. Because I think it's important to focus on the game first at the moment. You have a lot of people in Tezos who are super intelligent in terms of building out the smart contracts and creating a higher TPS and finally getting the layer 2 scaling stuff figured out. But we still need to focus on, if we want Tezos gaming to succeed, the games need to be there as well. So
it's crucial.
100%.
Yeah. 100%. We have another audience queue. Regular Guy HQ has come through with a follow-up question. Do you have plans to bring game developers, artists together from Web2 to Tezos instead of supporting existing interesting projects, which I believe you just touched on a little bit?
Yeah, we do. So there's a lot we're doing right now, and you might have seen it on our Twitter. But we also are running a couple art contests. I think with what Sudo is doing with Circuit Breaker and what we're trying to do with him is specifically focused on that exact piece. So artists in the art community on Tezos is vibrant, and arguably one of the biggest things that's happening on this chain. So we are looking for ways, both on the product side and from just like the user acquisition, getting people in the door side thing with kind of more marketing focused elements, to allow people to create some of the things that you'd see in a game, right? So let's leverage as much of this concept of decentralized, and multi-ownership projects, allowing people to come in and build levels, build avatars, build, animations for your character, build, whatever it is that you want, mint it on chain and have it represented in the games that you're actually playing. So yeah, we're working on a couple tools there, and I know the Tezos guys are as well, with some of the Unity stuff that they announced the other day.
Right on. So back to the hackathon for a minute here. The last time I looked, you had more than 30 applicants across the 3 categories you had announced. How have you liked the response you've seen from the Tezos community to that hackathon so far?
It's been great. We got a couple people who we had a couple categories where you could go and develop basically the framework for what that smart contract would look like. So for more technical, developers or people who know Lego and Michelson and everything, the ability to actually flex that and build the product itself. But then we had a lot of people submitting just ideas, right? We had people who were less technical talking about, what they wanted to see in those solutions and stuff. So we had pretty good feedback for our first go around. I think, in the future with some of the other hackathons we'll do, the goal will be to focus it in a little bit more instead of having, multiple prompts, maybe do, one thing and focus on a specific solution. But yeah, the responses we got were good. And the feedback we got from some of the people who worked on the bounties was great and inspires us to do more of this.
Right on. So you've got the hackathon, you've got the art contest that you touched on a few moments ago. And on top of all of that, I understand there's also a Tezos Incubator fund in the works that will be investing in games and projects being built on Tezos over the next 1 to 1.5 years.
Yep.
Can you walk us through exactly what's on offer for builders in the ecosystem and how they can get involved?
Sure. So I think the applications for this first round closed. We had about 56 people apply, 56 different projects from across Tezos and outside of Tezos. The fund is essentially targeted at projects that are working on building out Tezos gaming. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a game itself. You can be building an analytics tool that layers on top of it. You could be building a smart contract that kind of works with whatever game or existing projects in Tezos. But there'll be a link. Before it was misfits.gg/incubator, I believe, to apply. We're going to be making several investments over the next, I guess, 2 years to the 1.5 part. But the first round of funding will be announced shortly before the end of December. So if you are a project building on Tezos or looking at Tezos or whatever it is, you should be able to go to misfits.gg/incubator, and we'll be putting some more information out about that soon.
Right on. I mean, all of this adds up to a pretty significant investment being made in Tezos gaming right now. Why do you think gaming is becoming such a key priority in blockchain more broadly and the Tezos ecosystem specifically?
Well, I mean, I think gaming is just a strong use case for crypto as a whole and for Web3. And I think, Tezos is looking at it as, another vertical that they can, leverage, what they have over their competitors. The art scene is obviously, like I said, thriving on Tezos. I think from the gamer perspective, I really want to see this work out. I think 2021 did a little bit of damage in terms of how fast things went, the heavy focus on play numbers people were seeing on their investments, buying these NFTs and tokens and everything. So there's some damage that needs to be undone. But that's to say, the reason we're making all these investments now and why I'm super excited about it is this bear market is really shaking out a lot of bad actors, in my opinion. We're putting up, close to $100,000 in prizes for gamers, for game developers, for artists, for players, the whole thing. Now, and the hopes are that the people who are, around and have, stuck through the last year where it's been a little bit rough, will come out the other side, specifically on Tezos and continue to build incredible projects. But I mean, what gaming does. Gaming has, incredible amount of user retention. People play for hours. It's in my opinion, a beautiful place to try and introduce, blockchain as a technology.
Absolutely. And like you said, attracting people who are actually interested in playing the games rather than just buying tokens and items and flipping them to make money, right?
Yeah, that's the big thing, is like getting out of this flip mindset where, people are just coming in, buying an NFT and then sitting on the sideline being like, when can I rent this thing out? Like, we hopefully want to inspire people who are actively building, actively playing. And from there, hopefully find some beautiful use cases of blockchain that aren't, just shoved down people's throat. It's like, You're playing the game, you have access to your items, you can leave with them, you can sell them, whatever. But that's a secondary part of why you're playing this game. It's something you want to do, something you enjoy.
Very cool. So speaking of builders, like what gaming projects have you seen taking shape in the Tezos ecosystem recently that you are excited about?
So what I'm excited about is this second wave of the existing projects kind of leveling up. Like you saw the GIF team start to evolve and move away from just their Tezotopia project. They've got a couple other ones in the pipeline, which is exciting. You've got the Elite guys who are about to release Oathbound, which should be the first MMO on Tezos, purely on Tezos. The relationship we have with to use their Steam game, which is called Might and Moem, that we're currently kind of building around, as a way to start to get people to know the Elite brand, so that when Oathbound does come out, you've had some opportunities to earn some Elite gems, some of the avatars for the project. So we're excited about that. We're excited about the Neon's team building out the rest of Circuit Breaker, so adding some more levels, building out their sandbox mode so people can design different speedrunning projects. And then there's a couple more in the pipeline that we can't talk too much about that should be coming here soon, that are Web 2 focused, that are coming over to Tezos. That's been the big thing, is can we grab some traditional Steam games and find a way to port them over to Tezos and hopefully keep it somewhat on the down low so that Steam doesn't get too angry. But the way we're handling it at the moment doesn't cross any lines, which is nice.
Very cool. What do you think it will take to attract gamers to the Tezos ecosystem and build a community for them here?
You mean just in general? Like, what's it going to take to drive gamers to Tezos?
Well, obviously, every chain in the game is currently hoping that they can attract the gaming community to their chain to start playing there and build a community there and stay there as a vehicle to help them sort of build their larger community. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious what you think are the sort of key aspects that will help one chain achieve that over another chain?
I think it's tough. I mean, I think there's the multi-chain discussion, right? Of like, what does the future look like for these games, and when they're looking at their project, deciding to commit to one versus another. I think Tezos has a couple nice, unique advantages. A lot of them circle around their BD work they've done in the last 2 years. The relationship with Unity, increasing the transaction per second to above, I think it was like 6,000 or some crazy number that I saw the other day. I think their partnerships with, Manchester United, with, McLaren Racing, which, F1 is seeing its resurgence or its emergence into Twitch and gaming culture. And, the popularity of the F1 show is, spawning this popularity around racing games and stuff. So I think there's a lot of the partnerships and good brand equity that they've built out that's going to help a lot of projects say, where do I want to go and build, and where can I access other partners that'll help extend my universe. So if you're a game and being able to access something like Manchester United skin for your car in a game, or whatever it is, that's kind of huge. In terms of getting gamers just on chain at all, and this concept of mass adoption, I think there's a lot of it's just time. I think, good projects, give it time, some rebranding of some terms that got misused last year. I don't know if you've said the word NFT recently to someone who's not in crypto, but it's like they like curl back. So I think there's some healing that needs to be done.
Yes, there is.
But I think it's just going to take a couple of good projects. It's going to take some incredible, hopefully tournaments and a scene emerging that gets people excited about gaming on Tezos, and the ability to get quick payouts on stuff like tournaments, through your wallet, having ownership of your assets in Oathbound, and wanting to sit in that world versus sit in something like the World of Warcraft or whatever, where you don't have access. It's just going to be, these projects doing a good job of convincing players that it's better to spend their time there than, in existing worlds or projects that are on Web 2.
You mentioned the sort of the negative sentiment surrounding some of these terms right now. Aside from that, what obstacles do you think crypto and Tezos and blockchain need to overcome for the reality of gamers moving en masse into this space, for that to become a reality?
I think a big part outside of just time, which I think is honestly 80% of it, just, the wounds healing, is education around, well, a couple things. One is separating the idea of crypto from blockchain, like cryptocurrency as the marquee product of Web3, and people, who are sitting on, what used to be maybe $5,000 worth of token that's now $50 worth of tokens. Like, there needs to be, the separation of people understanding that what we're doing with these games is not, the same as someone going and talking about a coin going to the moon. The other piece is God, I just had it and I blanked on it. The other component would be, Tezos getting out there and starting to talk to, larger game studios like they have been, right, with the Ubisoft stuff, and Ghost Recon and everything, and having some large AAA studios come in as well and light the torch and lead the way.
Okay. What's your personal vision for the future of gaming? Like, where is all this headed?
Big question. For me, it's that world I talked about. It's, I sunk 10 years of my life into this game. And when I decided to step away, I have something to show for it. And it's not just good memories with my friends. It's, something more tangible. The beautiful unlock, or one of the beautiful unlocks of blockchain to me, is the concept that I get to participate in the thing that I'm working on, right? Like, not just from the game capacity, but like, you have my data, right? What are you doing with that data? Yeah. And can I have a piece of it? You have my item, you know what I mean? Like, what can I do with it? Why is it just you who can go and make financial transactions on my efforts? So the future of gaming for me, and especially as far as Tezos and crypto's concerned, is really, I'm playing a game. I'm more or less unaware, or had to take very few steps to make sure that my Web3 identity and wallet are all connected. It's pretty seamless and flawless experience. And And at the end of the day, when I shut my laptop or whatever it is, I can open up my Kukai wallet, my Temple wallet, whatever it is, and I can see all of that effort, time, and energy, and have control of it, and still kind of allow it to persist outside of just in that world. So more user participation, more financial transparency around game economies, more interaction and interoperability of the things that I work hard to achieve in games. And just all of that baked into a beautiful experience that's a game that I love,
Very, very well said. So, like, what's next for Blockborn? Are there any other exciting rollouts / announcements in the works?
So we will have another tournament in December that will highlight one of the games on our platforms to kind of allow us to test out some of the bracket software and stuff that we're working on at the moment. But the big focus for us right now really is build these tools, test them within the ecosystem, continue to have conversations with games and drive them to Tezos, be it from Web2, be it from other chains, whatever it is. And then really just make our tools as easy to use as possible for game developers, right? We want to, not completely, but we want to be able to step back into the shadows and, have our system and our products, empowering game developers and players wherever it is that they live, so they don't have to sign up to another wallet, connect another, seed phrase, like do it, whatever it is. We want to make it as flawless as possible for us. So you'll see in Q1 and Q2 next year, a lot of our tools become Discord ready and SDK, and be purchasable / accessible as an SDK, so that you can embed it in whatever it is that you're doing without having to ship your users to different websites and different Discords and all that.
Removing those roadblocks one at a time, right?
That's the key. I mean, I think one of the big issues with Web3 so far is people led their product marketing with, this is a crypto thing. We have our data stored on chain. And tell me the last time you bought something that isn't crypto related, where they're like, by the way, the data is stored on AWS, and we have a Cloudflare thing set up to protect against this. Like, you shouldn't be marketing with back-end technologies. Like, I think a lot of the crypto offerings and blockchain offerings need to fade into the background so that people can go back to buying in on stuff that they want to do, right? Come play this fun game. Come, easily submit payments. Come do all this other stuff. This idea that we're like putting the blockchain back-end technologies as a consumer facing marketing message is strange to me. So, yeah.
Well, not only do people likely not care, a lot of them may actually be turned off by that, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like I've always said, the key aspect of any of this working is that the games have to be fun.
Yep.
If the games aren't fun, this is all for nothing, right?
100%. I just saw a chat popped up saying, will we make it? I think we will make it. I'm curious, man. Everyone I talk to that's in crypto right now, they're very like, I've heard both sides of the fence for 2023. We're back at it, bull run, let's go. Another, year of crypto winter. Like I've heard everything. What I'm most excited about is just just building, being here with the people who are still around. There's a sense of like, when you suffer together with someone, it's like when you're on a sports team and, you have to do those sprints together. That's what it feels like. Like everyone who's building right now, especially in Tezos, we're all just like holding each other and we're like, we've got this. So, yeah.
But I mean, we are building and people are building. And as I said, like, when something shows up on the scene that is a part of this world, that's fun, that everybody wants to do,
yep,
then we're off to the races, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I honestly could talk about this all day, but we're almost at the end here. Before we close off, I need to announce the winners of the limited edition Neon's digital ink body tattoos we're giving away today. Mm-hmm. Today's winners are Breakdown, Andre Q, Regular Guy HQ, Ghost, and DGen. Congratulations. To claim your prizes, just email us at social@tezoscommons.org. We'll request a screenshot for verification that you're the account owner, and then we'll get your shiny new Neon's digital ink body tattoos over to you just as quick as we can. For those who missed out today, we remind you that there are awesome giveaways to be found frequently here on the TezTalks live stream, so keep tuning in. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our social media contacts can be found at tezoscommons.org/TezTalks, and we would love to hear from you. Will, thanks so much for joining us today. It's awesome to talk to the folks building interesting projects like Blockborn here in the Tezos ecosystem and helping us keep Tezos at the forefront of the Web3 gaming revolution. Is there anything else you'd like to mention or touch on before we sign off here?
No, nothing we didn't talk about. I appreciate this and everything you guys are doing in the space. More conversation, more activity. Whatever we can keep doing to push Tezos forward, I'm all here for it.
Absolutely. And if people want to keep up to date on your project and the progress that you're making, where can they do that?
Follow us on Twitter, join our Discord. Those are the two best things you can do. Right now, we have a battle pass active that has about $5,000 worth of prizes available in the form of XTZ, and then also just some cool NFTs and limited access to Oathbound, which is coming out soon. And we'll continue to pump money, resources, energy, time, everything into Tezos Gaming until we see this thing succeed.
That's awesome. To everyone out there in Tezos land, thanks for joining us on the TezTalks live stream. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons, and our awesome guest has been Will Pazos, Senior Vice President of Blockborn. Now let's go win over some gamers.
Love it.